culture. Everything is permitted.
Welcome to episode 66 of Everything is Permitted here at Wade's Comic Madness! Woohoo!
I'm thinking about Clone Wars now, and I'm even more sad.
We're back at Wade's. Yay! I am your captain and host, Julian Brown, alongside my co-host, the Man of Steel, Matt Reppert, and the Master of Puns, Brittany Tomes. How we doing?
I am tired.
Yeah,
You look
I'm very
exhausted. I think we're all tired.
Yeah, it's a tiring Sunday.
Round trip to New York yesterday. I'm sure you had a shift as well.
Yeah, I worked last night.
And
Life.
for Brittany. Just life.
Just a lot.
Oh, man.
It's great to be back, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not in our main basement yet, but we're in the actual main basement of Wade's.
It's right, man. We're not in our parents' basement.
No.
We're in Wade's basement.
We're in the Wade's
Infinitely cooler.
Oh, my God.
This week it's Father's Day today, so much like our Mother's Day episode, we're going to be going down a list of awesome dads in film, television, pop culture, even gaming. If anybody had any gaming dads on their list, I don't know.
There's so many gaming dads.
We'll get there. Last week we said originally that we were going to be talking about live action remakes and their animated counterparts and vice versa, as well as some motion capture stuff with EIP contributor Cabria Wimbush. Unfortunately, she had a family thing come up, so we were not able to do that this week, but Cabria will be here next week. We will be doing that episode for, I believe that'll be our final episode of June, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows? Time just flies by these days.
It really does.
It really does. But we're going to be talking about dads, and we have some odds and ends to talk about AMC reopening. We're going to kind of keep this one a little short and sweet this week because, we got to execute Order 66 because that's the name of the episode. I'm just going to call this episode Order 66, I think.
Pretty much is. And people be like, wow, it's Star Wars related. It's not
Nope.
at all.
Not at all.
Not one
Wait,
bit.
technically,
Surprise.
It does connect because the Emperor is a father.
He is a father.
Not a good one.
Nope.
And we won't talk about it.
Darth
man.
Vader's a dad, too. But we'll get to that because I'm sure that's on someone's list. Maybe not. Not exactly Father of the Year.
The guy who murders children. No, I don't think he's on there.
It was for the cause, man.
R.I.P.
Empire did nothing wrong. Hashtag. Some announcements to get to since we are down here in the Wade's basement. You sound like you just gave me
I
a
was
look.
just thinking, you said the Empire did nothing wrong, but at the same time, they left fucking vents, like openings in their entire Death Star that could easily be exploded and explode. So, that's one thing they did wrong.
I mean, they didn't leave those vents open.
They let contractors leave them open.
That is a fact.
Galen Erso designed those. in there.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
he
they
did.
did one thing wrong, in which they trusted the wonderful.
I mean,
Galen
I'm not
Erso.
one of those crazy Empire sympathizers, but I do like saying it every now and then as a parody.
We've seen your calves. We know,
Yes,
we
my
know
calves. I'm.
It sounds so weird.
Brittany, I thought you were gay.
Oh, I am.
God.
I'm a fan of tattoos, though.
And calves. It's leg day, baby.
Yeah, just so the audience knows, he has a Star Wars tattoo on right calf.
Right, calf, you got
Yeah,
it.
see,
well done.
I have,
you know my calves.
Jesus.
I just have photographic memory. So anyway, it's rebel stuff. Rebel.
Somebody please think of the children.
That's what I was saying to Anakin.
Oh, man.
Oh wow, we just got so far off track, and I love it. I love it. Announcements. Wade's is reopen, which is awesome. We're so happy that we're able to be back here. We're back recording and very thankful for that. Since we've been gone, Brittany, Joe, and Wade and the whole team have done some awesome work reorganizing the shop. Maybe not the basement.
I never claimed the basement to be organized.
We're getting there. We're getting there. And we're not only excited to be recording, but for the opportunity for Wade to start taking all of our money again. So, good job, Wade. Happy to be back.
Wade to go.
Wade to go. Also, if you've gotten around to watching the Top Chef finale, go ahead and have a listen to the season finale of Everything is Delicious, which is hosted by the Mother of Dragons, Karen Brown, and myself. It's our Top Chef post show. We just recorded our season finale of that. And then whenever an announcement comes for the next season of Top Chef, we'll be back with a preview episode of that, and obviously be back for the next season of Top Chef whenever that may be.
I feel like you guys made the top podcast for Top Chef.
I think we did. Bravo.
sharing, like,
yeah,
they
Bravo
loved it.
liked our stuff, so I'm happy about that.
They were like, bravo. How about Encore?
Oh, jeez. Encore? I don't think exists
I don't think
anymore.
so either.
No,
I just
think
really
they're-
wanted to say it.
Hey, since Bravo is liking our stuff and like on the 1% chance they're listening to our show, Top Chef Philadelphia. It's due.
That would be amazing.
It's due. You need to do it.
Like Queer Eye just did Philadelphia.
Yeah, man.
Why can't you?
It's been 17 seasons and no Philadelphia yet. Like, let's
we
go.
got some top chefs
We
around
do,
here.
man. We have great restaurants. We have good food.
We had the recipe for revolution.
Bam.
Boom. You're welcome, America.
So yeah, Top Chef Philadelphia. Go ahead and listen to our season finale. We had a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it for that. Before we get into the show, Brittany, how can people support us?
Apart from following us on social media and giving us all them, likes and follows, you can head to everythingispermitted.com and check out our Patreon tab, which will shoot you over to Patreon, show you our wonderful tiers, $2 and $5, which will give you access to lots of cool stuff and perks and things and early access to episodes. The descriptions are there, so I'm not going to give you the whole spiel right now. You can easily check it out, determine what you want to do. And then, if you help us out, helps us go do really awesome things. Now theaters are reopening. We can review films for you. We can go places. We can do things.
Tenant, baby.
Tenet.
Tenant.
I'm super excited for Tenet.
And Matt, if people can't financially support us on Patreon, how else can they go about doing so?
By going to wherever you listen to Everything is Permitted, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Podbean or anywhere else, and giving us a hopefully 5-star review. We would very much appreciate that.
5
5 stars.
5-star.
5-star
5-star review.
Oh my God.
We were there.
I love
we
it.
were there.
Move over, Subway.
Yeah, move over, Subway. EIP's here.
I was about to say when we promise, like 12 inches, we'll actually give it, but I don't know. Like,
Oh,
it was just so bad.
God.
Like,
Amazing.
anyway, we would never cut you short on a foot-long hoagie.
Do you want to?
No, just like
Do you want to thank some people before we start talking
I
about
do wanna thank
cutting
some
off
people.
footlongs?
our homies that aren't quite hoagies, but we love you just the same. Billy Peets, Heather Reppert, Rob Migliaccio, Michael Cox, Nikki Veazey, Matt Moore, Cabria Wimbush, Rob Carter, and Anthony Matarese.
Woo! Thank you for supporting our show and being Eep Veeps. We love you.
Beep, beep.
And let's get into some rants and raves. Who's going? Matt's going.
So I know that we're going to talk about it in the Permitted Admitted, but I can't tell you how bummed I am that Cyberpunk got pushed back again.
I
And
know.
At this point, I'm almost waiting for it to be pushed into 2021. I'm almost expecting it entirely, just because when something gets pushed back this many times, I just expect it to be delayed until next year.
I'm wondering if they're waiting until 2077 to actually release it.
That would be the long haul.
Keanu knew it all along.
I'm not even gonna.
That
I'm
was
not even
rough.
gonna. I'm not gonna shame you
Thanks,
for that
that
one.
was
rough.
That was a good one.
I made a lot of Ian Holm puns last night when I guested on Geeks
Did he
for
take
Kids.
the long ride home?
I made a few home jokes for sure, but I even said like he embodies, really amazing characters, but I said Ian bodies, and nobody laughed at that one because I don't think they caught it. But when they're editing, they're gonna find it.
Eric will just you'll hear him snicker like.
Oh, Eric's
pun
always
hall.
like
I
chuckling
know.
in the background.
Oh my god. But Matt, wouldn't that be funny though if it was 2077 and it's just 3 generations of developers worked on this game?
The biggest cross-cultural
Every-
project.
When the world needed Cyberpunk the most, it vanished.
Oh god. Aang makes a cameo.
Oh man.
What's his name? Johnny something? Who is Keanu playing? I almost said Johnny Tsunami, but I don't know what that is. I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
That sounds like a name from like a 90s
Like a
action
Disney show?
movie or,
Yeah, that might
or
be
a
it.
Disney action movie or
It's like
something.
Johnny Silverhand or something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like he should be fighting in Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage.
Finish him.
No, I don't have a rave for once. I have a rant.
Ooh shit.
People, can you please wear your goddamn masks? Like, there's still a global pandemic. death tolls are still rising everywhere. Like, just because states are reopening, like, especially in Pennsylvania, we're lucky that our governor closed the way he did and handled things the way he did. That's why we're one of the better states where not as many people have died. And we're able to slowly go into these yellow and green openings. But at the same time, don't be stupid. Don't put other people's lives in danger, even if you don't care about your own life. Like, I know, like, my friend's dad died of coronavirus. It's real. Like, it's a very horrible and painful way to die, and your family members can't even go to see you in the hospital. So it's like, take it seriously, and especially if you're going in a store, like, at least for the employees and the other customers there, wear your goddamn mask, and wear it right. Put it over your nose. Everywhere.
Yeah.
You can just do that for 5 minutes while shopping, or 30.
Don't wear it over your fucking chin.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
doing
not a chin
anything
strap.
for anybody.
Chin straps have never helped.
Yeah, I've lost count of the number of people I've seen with the mask like under their nose like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just
like, thanks for breathing outward with your nose, still expelling what will kill people.
But to piggyback off what you said, like, my sister and my brother-in-law both had COVID. Like, it's real. They're fine. They're young. Like, they're fine, but it doesn't hit everybody the same way. I hate talking about it on the show, but it's necessary because wear your fucking mask. It's not hard. It's selfish of you not to. Like, just do it.
Yeah. And employers are doing like 8-hour, 12-hour shifts, places having to wear the mask the entire time.
They
like,
have it a lot harder
sweating.
than you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, just wear it. Like, you can take it off immediately when you get back in the car, you know, and you're in your own little bubble where
Yep.
your world's perfect. But, like, just be considerate. Don't be a COVID idiot. Thank you.
There you go. I have a rave.
Yay.
I might get a little verklempt talking about it. So we were in the car driving home from New York for my dad's 80th last night, and a song came on, and I was getting hardcore Chester Bennington vibes. And I said to Karen, I was like, babe, doesn't that sound exactly like Chester? And she's like, yeah, it does. So, but I mean, it wasn't a Linkin Park song.
Yeah.
Little did I know before Chester, I'm already like, before he joined Linkin Park, he was in a band called Grey Days. And Grey Days, before Chester died, was planning a reunion. And they actually had Chester re-record all the audio from the songs.
Oh, wow.
So when we said, wow, doesn't that sound a lot like Chester? It was Grey Days, and it was Chester. And I'm like, Chester and Linkin Park had a huge impact on my life. Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell dying, like, had a huge impact on me, like, really fucked me up. Two big reasons I'm still around today. They got me through some really hard times. So it was eerie, but yet absolutely beautiful and amazing. We don't really talk about music a lot on this show, but to hear his voice in something I'd never heard before, it moved me. And on the way here, it was on again, and I was just like,
That's some grade A material. I know it's Grey Days, but I just wanted to make you laugh because you're feeling it.
Check it out. I think they're actually going to be releasing the full album with their old songs, like re-recorded with Chester's voice, which is pretty fucking cool. So, yeah,
I love it.
I will, you know, anything that I could still get from him, I will always just, you know, take, because he was such an amazing talent. You know, he was just such a unique voice, just a wonderful soul, and obviously gone too soon. I know that sounds it's depressing and sad, but it is a rave because the music's beautiful and it's such a fantastic song that's on the radio right now. So check it out. Check out Grey Days, and yeah, listen to good music. Music gets you through this crazy time right now, I think.
It does.
So.
And they said in the end it doesn't even matter, but really it did. He mattered to a lot of people. I'm being nice. I'm not
You
even
are.
being
You're
fun.
just
like
the puns, man. The puns. I will
never
mute
stop.
you.
I feel like everybody
They
loves
never
Linkin
stop.
Park. Like, I don't really know people
I don't
that
know
don't
anyone.
like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you're not like a super fan,
Yeah.
like you've heard them in something. Probably even the Transformers soundtrack, let's be honest.
That song comes on every single time on the radio, and I'm like, oh yeah, Transformers too.
I liked even their experimental stuff.
Oh no, I love it's a YouTube video where I believe it was Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, and it was like like they did one of those things of like teenagers react to Mike Shinoda talking about Linkin Park or something like that. And then they did another video of Mike Shinoda reacting to their discussing him.
Oh, wow.
And it was funny as hell because he is like the nicest guy because one of the kids is like, well, people don't like when they do new stuff, but you can't just keep doing the same stuff. And Mike Shinoda's like, this kid gets it. He goes, this kid gets it. And then he goes like, can we get them t-shirts? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. And then they did a follow-up video and the kids are like, here's your Linkin Park t-shirts from Mike Shinoda.
I
And all
love
that
That's
stuff.
awesome.
It's really cool videos.
I'll have to check those out.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Nothing? Nada? Zip? Zoich?
Nope.
Nope. You got me.
I really did.
You got
He was
me.
like,
I was pointing.
oh, God.
All right. Well, then. It is time for
The Permitted Minute.
The permitted minute.
Holy shit.
Put some bass in her voice there.
It is the permitted minute, and we are going to go here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Gatus, start the clock.
Ian Holm has taken the last ship to the Grey Havens. He was 88.
AMC theaters will resume operations at limited capacity starting on 7/15. After backlash upon the announcement that they would not require masks, the theater chain quickly reversed course and will require theater goers to wear them.
Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed for the third time and will now release in November.
Ewan McGregor will play Jiminy Cricket in Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Nintendo is finally bringing back Pokemon Snap, as Nintendo announced its return this week.
Although the reports have been rebuked by Sony, the price of the PS5 has seemingly been leaked by Amazon France, with a digital edition coming in at $399 and physical media at $499.
In an impressive announcement from Microsoft, Xbox Series X Smart Delivery will also carry your save data across from last gen to next gen.
Ooh, 2 seconds left. 2 seconds. We
did it, though.
We did it indeed.
Mr. Gato would be proud.
He would. He would. Until he becomes an amputee. And then he just gets sad and depressed and mutinies.
Wow.
You know.
Well, you know, just life. I had no pun for that. I was like, dude, Battlestar gets rough.
It's so rough.
Like, there's only so many jokes you can make.
I still haven't watched it.
We need to do something
Do you
about
want to
that.
borrow my Blu-ray box set?
We each have the Blu-ray box set.
I own the
really
entire
pretty.
show.
Matthew.
I own it digitally, so.
Matt,
Matthew.
that is your full name, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think one time I tried to call you.
It's Matholomew.
Yeah, I
Don't
tried
worry
to call you
about it.
Matholomew.
No, it's Matthias.
Matthias. We'll go through every Matt.
Matterang.
The
Mattitude.
Matmobile.
Oh, man.
This is what happens when we get back to Wade's. We don't actually do the show. We just shoot the shit for 1 hour.
It does feel like home.
It does feel like home. It's so good to be back. Because I was getting a little tired of my kitchen. Yeah, my kitchen's in need of. I'm gonna do what you're doing eventually, and I'm gonna build.
Oh, I'll help you.
A little studio. Yeah, dude, it needs to happen at some point. Or
I
I'm
got
gonna
that
just
3M tape. I got my little foam cubes that keep showing up.
nice.
I just have a walk-in closet, and like, I was tired of having all these weird Barbies and like stuff I don't even use in there. So I was like, you know what? I'm selling all this, and I'm just gonna make this a studio.
By the way, mad props for selling your shitty lock and key books.
Dude, I sold them for like $50 or something. It was pretty good. Like I lumped them all together
Yeah.
to be like, you know,
Package deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, like I worked here and I used like store credit and whatever, so I don't even think I spent a full 50. Like,
No, you
I just
made
worked
bank
my
on
butt
them.
off.
Yeah.
So I was like, I either broke even or got money for it. So help fund my studio.
Boom.
shitty lock and key books.
Yeah, dude, not good.
Watch the show.
Watch the show for sure. And a shameless EIP plug. We did a whole episode on Lock and Key, and we even did a bonus episode on Lock and Key.
And
so
we did a blog post, like a whole review written, remember?
we just did a whole lot of things on Lock and
We
Key
really
because
liked
it's a
Lock and
fantastic
Key.
show. So check it out. It's on Netflix right now. Odds and ends, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of a pickup from one of our more recent episodes talking about the return to movie theaters and if movie theaters would indeed be making a comeback. And that is the case. July 15th, the biggest movie theater chain in the United States, and I think even maybe the world, AMC is reopening. They're opening their doors. Let's just go right into the big controversy, Maskgate.
Maskgate.
Yeah,
You kids, you had Watergate when you were younger.
we had
got
Maskgate. We still have Maskgate. It's not even an AMC thing. It's a fucking United States thing. okay, who thought it was a good idea in big AMC executive office, wherever that might be located, and like suggested, let's not make it a political thing and let's not require our patrons to wear masks. Like,
isn't it also the exact opposite of what they were saying during COVID? They were like, if we do open up, this is all the things we're going to do. People are going to have plexiglass in front of their faces while they watch the film. Everybody was wear a mask even while filtering popcorn through the top. Like, it was so intense.
I don't know. It never seemed like that would even be something to consider. Like, if you're going to go to a movie theater, wear a mask.
Maybe they thought like more people were going to show up at Tulsa, and they were like, oh no, what if that's a huge basis of our theater goers? And then they saw the turnout and they're like, oh, we're fine, we can have masks again.
Oh my God.
Matt, you seem to maybe disagree a little bit. Are you okay with wearing a mask at the theater? Or?
I mean, I'm okay with wearing a mask, but I already know exactly what's going to happen is that when people are sitting in the theater, you're probably going to take it off, pull it down or whatever like that. Because, I mean, let's be honest here, as I'm sitting there eating popcorn, for each individual thing of popcorn, is somebody realistically going to take a thing of popcorn and go, and then put the mask back up?
Will.
I mean, some people will, but I know humanity. And
what if we tape the bottom of the mask and then you fill it like a little trough? Like you can pour like M&Ms and Skittles down there and you're just like, you know?
Oh, what was that? It was like a gif of like an Asian woman, and she's like sitting there with like a mask, and she has it like cut open. She just goes bah, and just like opens like Pac-Man and eats it. And there's this dude like looking at her. He's like,
This is a little bit off topic from the movie theaters and that, but have you seen that there's a company that will recreate the bottom half of your face and put it on a mask? I saw the ad for it and I was getting nightmares, like staying awake. I was like, this is nightmare fuel.
Oh my, yeah, that's a little much.
Because you're not like,
I kind of like not seeing part of my
yeah,
face.
man.
Like it's cool.
It's not going to help you emote. Like no one's going to know if you're smiling or not. The dick is going to be even fucking
permanent
weirder.
smile. That's even creepier. Then we're looking like
it's like Hush.
Yeah, like Hush.
Just get.
What if I got a mask that's just the Hush guy's mouth?
I would dig that.
I'd walk around trying to scare Joss Whedon wherever he is.
I'm not gonna lie. I really like if I would wear a mask all the time, like no matter what, even if there wasn't a thing. If I could get like the Sub-Zero mask and have like a little bit of dry ice, so whenever you breathe out, it would be like a little steam coming out of it. I'd be like, yes.
How quickly can we get that for Matt's birthday?
I'm going to do research as
like
soon
as soon as
we
you go. Oh man. By the time people listen to this, your birthday will just be a couple days away. So we'll just say it now. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You know, birthdays are fun.
The big 3-8.
The big 3-8, not the big 4-0 yet.
No, I got 2 more years for that. That'll be 2022 when that happens.
And Brittany's just still a baby. So nothing's changed.
The funniest thing is it doesn't matter what podcast I'm on or who I'm talking to, my age just gets thrown out there. And like, I love it. I just think it's funny. But then they'll mention something and
you damn youngins.
Like, I love Bill and Ted. And they're like, you weren't even born yet. And I'm like, doesn't matter.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more near the end of these odds and ends. But I will say, like, I'm going to go to the movies and I'm going to wear a mask. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm ready. We've talked about this on the previous episode that we did about this. They're my happy place. I need to go to the movies. And I'm not too worried because the times that I go to the movies, no one's in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about it.
Oh, we can finally use our
gift card.
Our thing.
Movie pass?
A-list?
A-list. I already forgot the name because it's been so many months. I was like, our free thing.
Wait, is that still going on for you?
They better unfreeze
Well,
it.
so they, at the minute that they closed, they froze accounts.
Okay, all right.
So,
well, that's good because
yes.
I was like,
No, they were not.
That would really suck if your trial membership was still going on. Like, oh man, it really sucks that your membership isn't working. Well, too bad. We'll see you in a couple months.
No, they froze the accounts. So.
I keep thinking of that Rachel quote from Batman where she's like, "It's not who you are underneath.
It's what I do
it's
on
what
the
you do that defines you."
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, that's right, guys. Wear your mask. It's your action that's affecting other people. Let's go.
So if I wear a mask like a bandana from the Ninja Turtles, is that acceptable? Like I got my mask on.
Over your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I go around like Zorro. As long as you have the one covering your mouth, you can wear any other mask you want.
Matt, don't even get a Sub-Zero one, man. Just get Shredder.
I love it.
I can't go with Shredder unless I get the purple sequined outfit he wears in the first movie.
We can make that happen. We can totally make that.
You act like we
Karen
can't.
will make that shit for you.
I will fund every shiny sequin.
Let's talk movies because the first big major release that moviegoers will theoretically be going back to is Christopher Nolan's Tenet. I was at my dad's yesterday, as I mentioned previously. It was my dad's 80th, and I decided, well, I have an audience here. I'm going to poll them about movie theaters because everyone in my family are moviegoers and hardcore into film. So I asked them, do you think this movie is going to make money? Do you think the return to movie theaters is going to be successful? Some people in my family said it'll be somewhere in between. I believe my brother Carrie or my sister Luann said not so much. And then my sister Danielle said there's the level of excitement for people to get out, which I think will certainly help. Like, I'm ready to go back to the movies. Like, I'm definitely one of those people. And then my mom was just like, they're going to be fine. People are already like going out again. Like, they want to go to the movies. It's going to be fine. So,
and people stormed on over to Wade's, so people are going to storm to the movies.
Yeah, exactly. So the question is for you guys, do you guys think that Tenet is going to make money? Do you think it will succeed? Do you think it's going to bomb?
That's kind of a tough call because Tenet will be a very interesting like case study as to that because they're opening with limited capacity, not as many people will be able to go, but I'm assuming that that there's probably going to be a lot of sold out shows for a good while because of the limited capacity. So that might drive demand, but like, I can't see the movie when it opens. I need to see the fucking movie. I need to get out and go do something and so on and so forth. So, I mean, as I said, like, I can't even make a prediction honestly about it just because there's so much about this that I can't factor in limited capacity, but people are, as you said, are stir crazy, want to go out and do stuff again. So, I mean, it's a tough call for me.
I was just going to say it's a Chris Nolan film, so I feel like the people who are going to see it are going to go see it regardless. But as to the limited capacity, like, that will definitely be an issue to reflect like what's the correct amount of ticket sales. And I'm wondering, are they going to extend maybe the amount of time the movie's in the office to match, so it has the right amount of showings? Because if you fit less people per showing, but you keep a movie only in for like a month and a half, like, that might not be as fair versus like a movie that came out months ago.
Yeah, I agree completely with what you said. People who are Chris Nolan fans are going to flock out.
Me?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to go see this movie because we're going to talk about it on the show. I'm also, I've said it 1,000 times already, ready to go back to the movies. I will wonder, though, if they will keep it, with a longer run, especially Chris Nolan was not happy that the film got pushed back a little bit. He wanted to keep the date, and he was like, you guys need to like reopen, which is a little shocking coming from Chris Nolan. I feel like Chris Nolan's like not one of those people, but I guess he is. I guess everyone in Hollywood.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a little shocked to hear that, but it is hard to make a prediction, though. I agree with you too, Matt. Like, it's unfathomed. The other thing is too, movie theaters don't have the best reputation for being clean, and the people out there who are already kind of nervous about the virus might say, I don't know if I'm ready for this. They don't clean the seats. The cleaning is minimal. Like, are they actually going to follow the guidelines that they've put out in their press releases? I mean, that's a major thing to think about.
I mean, you're telling me the high school senior who makes minimum wage might not be cleaning my movie theater to maximum efficiency.
Will they have more than one snack area?
So what I read is that they'll have limited concessions. So you're not going to have access to everything that you do now. I'm guessing that there's going to be no hot food. Still popcorn. You're still going to have the freestyle Coke.
Where's my icy?
I think you're going to be able to get your icy. I think your icy's in good shape.
Yes. I've been craving one. I know I could go to like
7-Eleven. There's like 5 of them.
They had no Slurpees from 7-Eleven for months. Like
really?
Yes, there was no self-serve Slurpees. There was no self-serve sodas. So I'm like, yeah, I haven't had a Slurpee.
Slurpees and ices are very different. They're similar in structure, but like, I'll go on about their consistency another time. But when you're drinking an icy versus a Slurpee. There's also different flavor options.
Ooh, we're going to have to have Brittany do like a blind taste test now.
Done.
Future
episode.
So what, are we going to like run out and grab ices and shit before they melt? Like, Brittany, hurry up, drink one of these.
They're going to prove me wrong on air, and I'm going to hate it.
Yep. Oh, dude, this is totally happening. Next week, Icy versus Slurpee. We're gonna have to find whether you can get an icy.
I'm also convinced that M&Ms are different flavors slightly just because of their colors. So
Yeah, blue tastes completely different than all the others.
thank you. Okay, so I'm not crazy.
What is wrong with both of you?
Oh, this is actually the big one. Christmas M&Ms taste different than normal
They
M&Ms.
do. They hit so different.
Yep, they do.
And they're not even minty or anything. Like
Nope, they're just chocolate and they're just red and green.
I'm convinced they're just like higher quality.
Both of you are
Agreed.
insane.
No, man.
Both of you are absolutely
So
insane.
we're gonna do a blind icy Slurpee taste test for Brittany, and we're gonna do a blind M&M taste test for Matt.
What do you? I never said they tasted differently. They taste.
I know, but gonna be like
they're
they're all the
chocolate
same.
covered like things. God damn it!
Okay. So we talked about how it is going to be limited capacity. Are you guys excited about limited capacity? Do you like the idea of having less people in a movie theater?
Yes and no, but because like honestly, I do like sitting next to Heather or you guys, and like occasionally like whispering something or making some snide ass remark. If I'm like 5 seats away and be like, "Oh, Julian, listen to this joke I just made."
Dude, it's gonna be so hard if I'm 6 feet away from you.
I'm going to be really happy not to be poked by Brittany.
Imagine-
Like 6 different times.
Imagine if
during
we
a
saw
movie.
Cats and we had like 5 seats or whatever in between us.
Oh,
and,
I would
like,
have left.
I would,
like Brittany I would be like, I think Brittany's having a stroke over there, guys. We might want to call somebody.
Julian and I would have like ran, and you would have been sitting in the middle seat still.
opposite way.
We would have ran out of the theater, and Matt would have been like, "Huh, I don't know why they're so upset."
He would have been stuck with Crazy Cats lady.
No, I probably would have gotten into a fist fight with Crazy Cats lady because she probably would have been like, it's a movie. I'd be like, shut up.
I'm still sad we didn't actually wear cat ears.
I could have gotten them in time.
I know.
Is that
you
is
didn't
that-
want to.
Did we really want to rep that hard on Cats?
I did. I was going to.
The worst
Remember,
part is I tried to understand the film, and she still yelled at me. I was like, I just don't know what's going on.
I'm the guy in the middle of the beginning of the pandemic who risked going to Target to prank you fuckers and get you copies of Cats. So yeah,
And it worked.
I was committed.
Oh yeah, did you ever find out who got you that realistic cat mask?
No one. Okay, listen, EIP listeners, because it could have been one of you. Someone.
We're all Spartacus, Julian. You'll never find out who because we're all Spartacus.
I may know who did it.
Okay. Well, someone pranked the prankster. I got a couple of weeks ago in the mail a full face cat mask.
Hyper realistic.
Hyper realistic. I'm going to put it on when we get back home.
You should have wore it throughout the whole quarantine.
Yeah.
Has like Cecily seen it? Because I feel like it would terrify her.
No, she has. She thinks it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, okay. Well, very
She
nice.
loves it. Are you kidding? She eats that shit up. Who do you think did it?
I know
who did it.
Was it you?
No.
No.
Was it your
Well,
wife?
it wasn't.
We're
It
all
wasn't.
Spartacus.
Yeah.
Shush, you. Who did it?
No,
it's
not
time.
telling.
It's been months.
We
telling
had
you.
a plan, and we all had an agreement. You will never know who did it because we're all Spartacus.
That's not fair, though. You know who got you
if you
guys
end up
cats.
guessing right, that would be great, but I don't think you will.
Was it your wife?
No.
Was it
Heather's too
McCavity?
good for that.
Was it McCavity?
No.
Okay.
Don't spend the entire rest of this episode guessing.
I'm going to take
God
one more guess and
damn
then
it.
we'll continue the show. Was it someone from the podcast family?
I don't
don't
think so.
know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Like, we don't.
I don't know how to answer that one.
Anybody who's
I
been
know they're
on.
definitely a listener.
Okay. All right.
That's all you need to
I
know.
will narrow it down. Okay. So
We have a shit ton of listeners, Julie.
we do. I know. The final question here is, with theaters reopening, even with limited capacity, are you guys nervous about possibly contracting the virus from going to a movie theater?
So this is something I've said to people because I do Xbox parties and such when I play Destiny or other games and such. And it's funny when I hear people talk about like, oh, out of work or I'm going back to my job and stuff like that. I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
Like I literally have, my day-to-day work has not changed. So I'm very much I'm only about as exposed as I have been. I mean,
Right.
And I mean, there's been some interesting close calls at work where like I haven't been in close proximity to it, but other people have.
Right.
Because we actually have facilities where I work that people who have it are being quarantined and such like that. So I'm just like,
Right.
whatever. Like I've
Yeah.
already been like playing Russian roulette every day at work for a while. So
Right.
it's not any different for me.
I'm just gonna keep my distance around people that aren't you guys.
Yep.
Like I have been.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
and if we sit 6 feet apart, maybe I can eat my popcorn with my mask down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not breathing on anyone.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm always nervous about the virus because I'm a hypochondriac. So I will not be doing that crossover Geeks with Kids EIP pandemic episode.
That's okay.
Coming soon. But yeah, so movie theaters are reopening. It's and I guess that's kind of an announcement for us too. In July, we'll be reviewing Tenet. Really excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We're tentatively holding our breath.
Indeed. And do me a favor, like Brittany said at the beginning of the show, wear your fucking mask. If the rules are wear your mask in the goddamn theater. End of story. If you don't, I'm gonna maybe come over and punch you in the face.
How dare you infringe upon my freedom?
Yeah.
Julian will be like, put your phone away. Put your mask on.
Phone down, mask on.
Oh no! I'm now picturing like the little AMC, like welcome to AMC. Now I'm picturing like put your mask on, like in that too.
Please look at the exits. Report any suspicious behavior. Put your fucking mask on.
Put your mask on, you gross.
It'll be
bastard.
like Melanie's voice on Snowpiercer.
Yes.
Good evening, passengers.
I love her.
I always think of like when I was in the military, I came down with bronchitis in basic training, and one of my favorite things was an army doctor like looked at me and diagnosed me with bronchitis, and he and I were talking, and he goes, just human beings are disgusting creatures.
Oh my god. He's not wrong.
No, he even said, he goes you take a crap, he goes, what's the first thing you do?
That's the first thing you do when you poop?
Like
I don't do that.
When they stand up, people turn back and look at it.
When I stand up, I do.
That's what he's saying.
You have to flush.
Yeah, but people look at it.
And some people like their own stank, which is weird.
Yikes.
But to completely agree with your army doctor, I mean, listen, I have 2 kids. Humans are gross, disgusting creatures.
How many fluids come out of us?
Yeah,
Oh God!
Exactly. Oh, that's enough of that. Happy Father's Day, guys. I'm the only dad.
It was such a weird
We're
segue.
transitioning from body
Do you
fluids.
look at your poop? Way to go, dads.
Happy Father's Day.
Do you spend too long in the bathroom, probably on your phone, not even pooping?
I think
Guilty.
I don't even think that's a dad thing. That's
You're
just
escaping
everybody.
your kids.
Yeah, I am for sure. It is Father's Day. We're going to talk about some of the best dads in film, television, pop culture, video games. Again, I was at my dad's. I polled my family. I have some weird names on this list of some of their favorite dads, but I'm going to go through it anyway. The first one, my mom gave me a name. It was Jimmy Stewart's character in It's a Wonderful Life, which I have not seen
Merry Christmas,
in a
man.
very long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in like, oh God.
I think it was my dad or my mom also said to put this movie My Brilliant Friend, which I've never heard of, but
Yeah, I
she
don't
kept
know.
nagging me, so I felt
My
obligated to
Brilliant
mention it on the
Friend.
show.
That's just you guys.
This was actually a pick from me. It's not going to count as my first pick, but I wanted to put it down because it was during the conversation. Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird.
One of my favorite like trivia things is like, and people might not know this, is that years ago, I think it was like the American Film Institute did like a list of like their 100 best, like most heroic and most villainous characters. And number 1 was Atticus Finch. And they actually said that like sometimes like it's not being super powered or being like the greatest hero. It's just doing the right thing when nobody else is willing to do it, and fighting everybody else to do the right thing is what makes you a truly great hero. And I agreed with it. I was like, you know what? He beats out Indiana Jones, all these other guys. I agree with it.
You don't even have to flex. He just flexes on them hoes. And by that, I mean racist.
For real. This is one of those movies, like you read the book in school and you see the movie. It's one of those movies that like really sticks with you, black and white, but still like just absolutely brilliant. And listen, especially during what's going on right now with, Black Lives Matter and the, horrible racism that's going on in our country, this movie really hits home and is really important. If you haven't had it, or if you haven't watched it, or if you haven't read the book, like definitely check it out, because it's really important and shows kind of exactly what systematic racism is. Yeah, but Atticus Finch is he's a great dad, great character. So my sister put Will Smith from The Pursuit of Happiness, which is, I'm guilty to say I haven't seen. Or
That's on my list.
Yeah, is it?
He is, okay, I'll get to it when I get to it, but he is an incredible movie dad. / real life, it's a real life story, so real life dad.
And then this is actually Karen was at the table. This is a great pick, and this is a really sad, depressing movie. The dad, I don't even think he had a name in the movie. In The Road, played
He's
by
just
Viggo.
the man.
Yeah, played by Viggo Mortensen.
You skipped one on your list here, by the way. You went over Chief.
Brody.
I kind of was doing that on purpose.
So I didn't know that.
No, it's okay, Lou. If you were listening, I put it on the list, but I was going to skip it. But now that Matt called me out, Chief Brody, Jaws. That was my sister-in-law, Luann.
He's Brody to the max.
I guess he's a great dad. Did he stop his kids from going in the water? I haven't seen Jaws in forever.
Hey, when his one son was in the lagoon, man, he was going town trying to get him out.
Fair enough. So yeah, The Dad in the Road. Have you guys all seen The Road?
No.
Yeah.
Movie's tough.
It's inspired a lot of things.
Last of Us.
Yeah, that's where they get Joel from The Last of Us, heavily based on that character.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's a really good film.
I'll take a peek at it.
He's like the peak apocalyptic dad, if that makes any sense.
Yep. Filmed partially in Pennsylvania, at the tunnel that the tourist trap tunnel in
It's said Transylvania.
no, I was going to say
Transylvania.
it's like Triskilia, or I always forget the name of
no clue.
the part of Pennsylvania that it's in.
If I see
it's
it,
that
I'll know.
abandoned town.
Centralia?
Centralia, thank you.
Okay.
Where they also were building an extension to the Lehigh Valley, like that parkway. And so there's like a big tunnel there that you can go through, and it's completely abandoned. It's pretty cool. So they filmed part of the movie.
Should go there and take cosplay photos of me as Ellie.
Yes, I will do it.
Last
I will.
ones.
I've been wanting to go, so I would totally do that. road trip.
Let's take a trip.
I think Centralia is off limits. You're not allowed to go.
No, you're
People
not
sneak
allowed
in
to
all
go,
the
but
time.
Oh god.
but it's basically touristy. Like people go. It's
It's touristy. It's foresty. It's everything you want.
Now, this is one that we talked about during our Mother's Day episode, and I think it was actually Brittany's pick, and now he's on the Father's Day list as well. Robin Williams.
He deserves both
He
nominations.
does. In Mrs. Doubtfire. That was
If
my
it's not
sister-in-law,
your
Luann,
Doubtfire.
as well. And then finally, my dad, this was a movie I haven't seen, so I don't know the character's name. The movie's called The Virgin Spring, and the character is played by the late, great Max von Sydow. So... yeah, I don't know much about the character, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know nothing about this movie and or Max.
But
von
so we
Sydow
had a nice
in it.
little roundtable dad discussion there for my dad's birthday / Father's Day celebration, and now it's our turn. And because it is Father's Day, I am going to for once go first.
I was gonna say,
because I
do it.
knew one of you would steal my first pick, so you know exactly who I'm going to say.
Because he's my number one.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Sorry, Ben Sisko.
Yep. It was literally my number one.
Yeah.
I didn't have Ben Sisko on my list. I was like half dead when I made mine, so I didn't get to put as much thought into it as I wanted.
He was
but-
half dad.
Ben Sisko is a great dad because not only is he kind of like forced this post at DS9 is originally forced upon him. It's not something he really wants. He's like, I was going to take a position on Earth. I'm a dad. I have a kid. And Picard's like, you will do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you killed my wife, you son of a bitch. And then, he has to take Jake and move him to DS9, and DS9's in dispute between Cardassia and Bajor, and there's wars and Klingons. And listen, DS9's not the safest place,
Definitely not.
And he's navigating not only being the commander of the station, but trying to still keep a sense of normalcy for Jake. And as Jake gets older and becomes an adult, during this series, you see this relationship grow from him being, the protective father to the father who lets his son have some space. And then one of the biggest moments for me in DS9 with Sisko and Jake is when
I might know this episode if you go.
probably when the Cardassians and the Dominion retake DS9, and Jake, because he's a journalist at this point for Starfleet, or spy, not quite sure.
Both,
The lines are
maybe.
blurred.
The lines are blurred. He stays behind to document everything, and Sisko is only made aware of the situation as the Defiant is retreating from DS9. And I think O'Brien goes, do we go back for him? He's like, Jake's an adult. He makes his own decisions. We can't go back.
Jake knows the stakes.
Jake knows the stakes.
I was thinking of the episode when Sisko gets hit by some energy blast and he's like jumping through time.
Yeah.
That's
as
an
Jake gets
amazing
older.
I was
episode
gonna
as
say
well.
that.
And like literally
Yeah.
Jake kills himself in front of him to sever the
Yeah.
tether
sever,
when
yeah.
they're closest together when he's like an old man.
Yeah.
I'm getting chills.
That's
a good
also
one.
a fantastic episode. But like, out of most of the sci-fi in the world, I feel like that best portrayed a father and son relationship, like a good father and son relationship. Yeah. And listen, Jake was in he was in the opening credits, but he certainly wasn't in every episode of DS9, but he had enough where they were really able to build that relationship. And I thought that was really well done. So who's next on my list? Brittany.
I just want to say I agree 100% with Benjamin Sisko, and you took all the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So I believe he's definitely the best Star Trek parent and arguably the best sci-fi parent ever. Amazing, caring dad. He's my top. He's my number one. Okay, so my number two, which I'll allow because I knew you were going to get Sisko, and that's fine, is Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Not technically Will's biological father, but is a father figure to him. And just like how I had Aunt Viv for Mother's Day, like the show is carried by those two characters. So Uncle Phil's like the nurturing, well, he's tough. He's tough on him, of course, but like he's definitely there for Will in all the ways that he needs like a man to be there for him, to be like a father for him, especially when later on in the show you realize like his father doesn't actually want anything to do with him. So when I think of like top TV dads, like it's always like Benjamin Sisko, Uncle Phil, like right up top.
I love Uncle Phil. Such a
Break
great,
out Lucille.
He'll make you laugh. He'll make you cry. He'll make you be like, oh, damn.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Like when Will's really getting in trouble,
Yeah.
you're like embarrassed for him. You're like, oh, God, can I sink into my couch?
He'll voice Shredder on the side.
Exactly. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
He's another top tier dad. And I never not think of him when people talk about TV parents.
Good choice. Matt?
So my first pick is also not a dad, but he is a father figure to pretty much every character on the show. Raymond Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes. Oh, my God. I love him.
I just like Raymond Holt is like one of my favorite characters, period. But just the way that he like guides and nurtures like all of the young people, and like how he even like the older characters, like there's the whole there's discussions with Sergeant Jeffers and all that with Terry Crews's character, but the Raymond Holt character is like, and I almost want he and Kevin to like adopt a kid just to see the two of them be parents, because like they're such awesome, they're such great actors, the two of them together. Just I love whenever Kevin makes an appearance on the show and talks to Raymond, because their whole dynamic and everything is fantastic. But the Holt character, just like how he basically is almost a dad to Jake, especially, and just the way he kind of nurtures him, and I still remember when Jake develops that respect for him, and like one of the very earliest episodes when like some old retired detective like makes like disparaging remarks about the Holt being gay, and Jake like actually like punches him.
He's
over
like,
it.
right, now I got to hit you, and he just does.
I have to watch this show.
It's really good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is fantastic.
There's two comedies that I've been like dying to watch, and I just never find the time. And Karen finally started watching them, one of them without me, and that's The Good Place and 9-9.
Yeah,
I want to watch The
creator.
Good Place.
Yeah.
They're both good for different reasons. So I'd suggest them both to anybody.
Yeah. Next on my list. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial, because I wouldn't say he's the best dad in the world, but when the situation comes where they have to kind of be together a lot, he does his absolute best given the circumstances, and that is Commander and then later Admiral Bill Adama.
Oh, yeah.
To Lee. Listen, it's no secret at the beginning of the series, these two have been estranged, not talking to each other, hate each other over the death of Lee's brother, Zach. But then they're thrust into being like one of 34,000 people left in the world.
So they're like, guess we got to make up.
We got to make up.
Also, low key, it's Kara's fault. What?
Yeah, low key, it's Kara's fault. And listen, like Bill's not as Bill might be more of a father to Kara
100%.
than to Lee, but especially in season 1, like early on when they're trying to kind of rekindle the relationship and it's slowly happening. I think still one of my favorite episodes of Battlestar Galactica is the episode Hand of God in season 1, where they need fuel and they find a Cylon Tillium refinery and they're like, we're going to fucking hit it. And Bill is like, Kara, you're hurt. You're not leading the mission. I'm giving this to Lee. And in that moment, it's like, it's really the start of them kind of getting the relationship back on track, because Bill shows that he can trust Lee with leading the mission, even though Kara's the superior pilot, right? But he doesn't let personal feelings get in the way, and Lee does it, and he gives Lee his dad's lighter before the whole thing. It's like, I trust you. You bring this lighter back to me at the end of the mission. And then at the end, when the mission's successful and they're lighting cigars, and Lee, no words are spoken between Bill and Lee, he just does this with the lighter. He's like flicking it back and forth, like, thanks, Dad. And that's the beginning of what's going to happen with the relationship throughout the series. Do they get into some hot shit
Definitely.
through the remainder of the series and like rekindle the hatred too? 100%.
Good old
right?
lawyer Lee.
Good old lawyer Lee. Good old fat Lee during Command of the Pegasus when he's gotten soft. SAWFT. Soft. Soft. I love that relationship. And it is the best out of horrible circumstances that it could be in those situations. So Bill, Lee, and even in Kara in that as well. So, Brittany.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what's up my throat. Okay, next on my list is Chris Gardner from Pursuit of Happiness, which was mentioned before. If you haven't seen the movie, it's about a father who basically was selling like medical equipment, like walking door to door to sell this machine. It ended up not being as big of a commodity as he thought it was going to be. So he ends up, I think his wife or significant other leaves them earlier on, and then he loses his apartment, so he's basically homeless, like trying to get by and survive with his young son, who, in this movie, Will Smith actually had his son play the boy, and I think it was his first film. And it's basically all about him trying to make ends meet and provide like a good future for his son, while trying to basically, I think eventually he tries to work for some stockbroker company. But just, man, the acting in this movie, and there's scenes that, like, I still think about when people bring up like Will Smith roles or this movie in general. Like when they're homeless, he has to go, I believe it's like a bus or a train station bathroom, and he like locks the door so he and his son can have somewhere to sleep for the night, and they have literally what's on them. The son just has like a little action figure, and somebody is trying to open the door either to use it or to like clean or something that night, and he like covers the son's ears and is like crying while just trying to like make sure he's able to sleep and everything. And it's just like, oh, whew. Eventually he does get the job, and he, but it's all about the pursuit of happiness and the fact that he wants to have this like great life for his son. And I'm getting emotional.
Yep, I can hear it in your voice.
It's also because it's a real story, so you're like, man, this guy really did that. He ends up getting the job because he knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and he was like talking to the guy in the car and like trying to figure out how to get the position. And he's just like, oh, by the way, I know how to solve this, and like does it, and then just leaves. And you're like, wow, now I want to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and this man deserves an Oscar.
There you go. Matt, your pick.
So I'm going to go with the character's name is Mac McGuff, and played by J.K. Simmons in the film Juno. So if you've never seen Juno, it's a great movie. J.K. Simmons is one of my favorite actors. He got an Oscar for his role in Whiplash. But when when Juno basically tells her parents that she's pregnant, she's like a teenager and all that stuff like that. There's no judgment from him. He doesn't like yell at her or anything like that. He's just kind of like, okay, we're gonna do this together. And when she decides to give her son up for adoption and everything, I still remember he's in the hospital with her, and he tells her like, you'll be back here one day on your own terms. Yep.
And, oh God, yeah,
like great movie. J.K. Simmons like kills it. He's like the caring, understanding dad. He's like he's there for her, no matter what. He loves her and on all that, and it's a fantastic movie.
I own that movie. It is fantastic. The soundtrack is fantastic.
If I was a flower growing wild.
Yeah. I love it.
I always just wanted to sit outside on like a reclining chair.
Yeah.
Just with a fucking jug.
I am a vampire. I am a vampire. Vampire.
The most unbelievable part of that movie is just in any universe that Michael Cera could knock up Ellen Page.
Right?
And that's saying something. The rest of the movie is incredibly like, wow, this is down to earth. This is like grounded, believable. But then you're just like, Michael Cera? The character he plays?
That's who
or the
you
character
got?
she plays?
Yeah.
That's okay. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
All right. my first non-actual father pick, but is definitely the father. The father. Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
To the child. Just a little ball is all you need to know. The ball to his, throttle on his ship, and lets him play with that. And then, the end of the series when the armor gives him his sigil and it's the Mudhorn that they took down together, and it's just like father and son. They are one. Like, this is...
He's literally ride or die for Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they are ride or die. And
I've come for the child.
Not a whole lot to say there because we don't really, it's just blossoming, but that is their journeys are one. I think, like, that's almost the line the armor says, like, your journey will coincide with his, and Baby Yoda.
Makes me so happy.
Yep. I'm wearing my shout out to my awesome wife, Karen, the mother of dragons, for making me my Father's Day shirt that says, "The Dadalorian, this is the way." Indeed. So,
I love
yes, I have spoken. Brittany.
Okay. My next one is going to be for the 85th time. I know you guys have heard me rant about the show. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I knew it was coming. But the character Bo in this version, have you guys seen the original She-Ra and He-Man?
The original, yeah. Well, the original He-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, He-Man. I don't know if I ever watched She-Ra, the original one.
She-Ra is the better of the two, and that's not saying much.
Well, I mean,
but anyway,
I don't remember too
Bo
well.
is like her main sidekick. That's, I don't know, love interest in the original version. But in this one, he gets a major upgrade. They're just friends. It's awesome. But he, I think it's like the second season, maybe the third season, you end up being introduced to his parents. And the way the show does it is in such like a nonchalant way, like a matter-of-fact way, being like, yeah, these are his dads. So he goes back home and he's like super embarrassed to go home. You're like wondering why. And nothing about the show is like, homophobic or anything like that, because that doesn't exist in their world. But they're like, he's ashamed to go back home because he left to join the rebellion. And his dads are like historians and they're very anti like war. So the whole time he like pretends he's going to this like a school nearby to like be a historian, and he's like, oh yeah, this is just my friend Adora and stuff. They're totally not princesses. We're totally not fighting a war. And his dads are amazing. Like, they're just awesome. So I remember like that episode hit me really hard because it's written and portrayed in a way that like they're showing him being like scared to tell his parents that he joined like the war and that they're going to be ashamed of him and stuff. So it's framed in a way that you, especially if you grew up gay, like you understand that like it's literally mirroring that situation. So eventually they do find out that he's joined the rebellion. They end up being fine with it in the end and stuff. But there's that like conflict and that immediate like, the episode made me cry because it was just so beautiful. And I love the fact that like literally that's what the episode is teaching kids, or it's telling people that are watching it. But it has nothing to do with the fact that the two dads are gay.
Yeah.
And they're just so freaking funny. And they study all like the old ones tech and everything about the show and know all about like the story of She-Ra, and then she ends up being She-Ra and they're just like, oh wow, that's real.
Nice.
So they're wholesome dads. I love them whenever they pop up in the show.
My next pick is going to be Marlin from Finding Nemo.
Oh, Marlin.
Yay, now I can take him off my list.
But yeah, I mean, you're talking a dad who literally goes across the entire ocean to, rescue his son. And Marlin is basically a coward, and with good reason, because obviously his wife and all his other children were eaten by a barracuda.
Murdered.
Yeah, got murdered because Disney must kill moms. And
Yeah.
It's
What's
all
with
about the
that?
sea anemone.
But yeah, because Marlin goes from like being absolutely terrified of everything in the world to like he's gonna take on the entire world to rescue his son.
Yeah.
Ultimate dad stuff there.
Yeah. Marlin's pretty cool. And he finds Dory along the way. And then we get Finding Dory.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I love Finding Nemo. Cecily used to watch that a lot, both of them, as a kid.
Was it like
Really
42
young.
Sherman
As a
while
kid?
As a
babysitting?
younger kid, I was retracting. Next on my list, I'm surprised I got to this before Brittany. Again, not an actual dad, but as much as a dad as she possibly could know. Head to the video game world. Roast.
Yeah, I had him.
Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn.
You know how I feel about Aloy. Dude. It's been long enough. It's not really a spoiler, but you can go ahead. I just didn't want to. I don't want to ruin it. But that moment,
Please
It's so
take it
key.
away.
Roast literally gives his life to save his daughter when people are coming to kill her, and everybody else who's like training and going to pass to be like warriors and accepted in their society. So that final moment where he just throws you off the cliff and you see him in slow motion and he's just like, oh.
And and not only that, but like later that you can go and like visit his grave and like Aloy still like speaks to him.
You go back to the house.
Yeah, the house is just like
snowed over.
Because Roast is her dad. Like, no, like, listen, was he like super compassionate? No, like he had a mission to protect her. The elders knew that Aloy is special, so she needed to be kind of like tough loved a little bit. But Royce also, oh, no, not Royce, Roast also loved her and did care for her. And exactly, was exiled for her. Just an amazing relationship. Yeah.
Roast did the absolute most.
And Roast got roasted.
I like want to go back and play that game now, especially because like they're talking about the second one, but also it's like I have so many games to play. Oh my god!
I know. Well, wait till you get The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
But yeah, it's that game has one of the coolest openings to a video game, right? Because like you get Aloy's like transition from like an infant to a toddler to a 6-year-old to then adult-ish Aloy, and just that relationship with Rose. Oh, Aloy!
I know. Every time I think of him, it's just him yelling her name. Oh.
Yep.
She's like running around, falls into a little cavern.
Yeah. Oh, that cavern.
Dude, it's so cool.
Oh, love it. Okay. You're up.
How do I top Roast? I guess I'll skip to video game dad I love, Joel from The Last of Us. If you listen to the show, you know how I feel about The Last of Us. It's like my entire life. I absolutely love Joel. I know that he's been inspired by, for example, The Man from the Road, and various other post-apocalyptic dads. But the whole entire story of the first The Last of Us game is about this father that loses his daughter. He's like a single dad, loses his daughter in such a tragic way in the opening part of the game, like the first 20 minutes. And then you see him, it skipped to like 20 years later, and he's gone through so much and has had to do so much in this life and this world that exists now. That he's become like, jaded and doesn't let himself get attached to people or care much. Like the people he works with, it's just like for partnerships to like survive. And then he ends up being given Ellie to travel across the country, and basically he's protecting her, and like she's like cargo to him at first. And he's like, who's this punk kid? We don't want to have a connection. Like, let's just do this. And he ends up having to be with her for longer than they thought because things come up. And along the way, it's him learning to like actually love and care for somebody else again. And Ellie finally has someone she can rely on, like a father figure in her life, which she didn't have. So the whole story is about love and hope. And it's like a really beautiful, like wolf and cub situation, father who's reluctantly like, I don't know, they've done it so many times in video games and movies, like you've seen it over and over again. So it's, I don't know, I love him as a dad. He's literally willing to do whatever it takes to protect Ellie, and that ends up affecting the end of the game. And you'll know if you play it. So can't wait to see more of him in this game, and how their relationship has changed for better or worse.
Yep. I mean, I'm not
Awesome.
again.
Shout out to Troy Baker for his amazing performance, because I love that man. And he signed my game.
I will say, as much as I don't like The Last of Us, Troy Baker's performance as Joel is ridiculous, because if you're a video game fan and you know Troy Baker, you would never know that that's his voice unless someone told you. It was such a unique role for him. I was ridiculously impressed.
And just
with
the
that.
opening scene where he has to cry over his daughter's dead body.
Oh my god!
If you see the behind the scenes for that, that poor man.
Yeah.
Cried his eyes out for like 4 days while they filmed that. And then in the end, they're like, we're going to redo it one more time. And he was like,
oh no.
Amazing.
So this one wasn't on my list, but I thought of it while we were talking. And even though I didn't complete the game, I still love it. And I do want to go back to it one of these days. And I'll just say, boy.
Yeah.
I haven't completed it yet either.
But yes, Kratos from God of War, the newest God of War. He's got his son, like Atreus, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah, Atreus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Atreus. I just keep calling him boy. But he and Atreus going on their journey to, basically, if I remember, it's been a while since I played the game, but like to honor his dead wife, if I remember correctly, up on the mountain. And just this dude is literally going toe to toe with Nordic gods, basically just so he can take his son up this mountain to essentially like scatter his wife's ashes.
Yep.
And that's fatherhood.
Yep.
Julian's like, I've done it for my kids.
Done it. Been to Mount Olympus.
He's like, my axe is over my mantle.
Yes. Yeah, what I've played of the game so far is fantastic. and the relationship is starting to bud.
Yeah. So.
I'm excited to play games and like stream games again soon. I think that'll be one I do for our page.
We'll go around one more time, and this is one I joked about at the beginning of the show, but I do want to talk about it. I'm going to say two names because they go with each other: Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Hold on.
I'll allow it.
Hold on. Obi-Wan Kenobi for being the best possible father figure to someone he didn't want to have anything to do with, from starting at the Phantom Menace, to raising Anakin into the best Jedi that he could possibly be. Had it not been for opposing forces and other things that I have opinions about, like Mace Windu, Obi-Wan did the very best he could and could never have foreseen what happened to Anakin. Nothing that happened to Anakin, except maybe Obi-Wan having to be the one to relay the message that they wanted him to spy, the Order wanted him to spy on Palpatine, did anything to, lose his trust in Obi-Wan. Like at the end, right, the last time that they see each other, like Anakin's like, "Thank you. You've done everything for me. May the Force be with you." And he doesn't even call him master. He's like, Obi-Wan, like that, just sign of respect. And Obi-Wan at that point too was like, "You as well, my friend." And I'm just like getting goosebumps talking about
My
that.
hairs are all like.
I thought the last time Anakin saw Obi-Wan was when he carved through
I
with a
hate
lightsaber.
you.
No, when he
No,
carved
the
through with a
last-
lightsaber in the original Star Wars.
That is the last time they saw him before Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
I know.
He's talking Anakin, not Vader.
And then also Anakin's relationship before, it becomes more of a brother-sister relationship, but his relationship with Ahsoka, is very, father-daughter, very nurturing at the beginning, and then it grows into being more of a brother and sister relationship. But then the things that Vader/Anakin does that now we know are because of, retcons with like Ahsoka, like saving Chewbacca from being killed by Boba Fett was because of Ahsoka, if you're going to believe that retcon, which I
believe
do.
it all, because
Yeah,
it makes
man,
it
it makes
so
so
much
much
better.
sense. And then, the fact that upon learning that he has a son, we're getting all these comics now that are fleshing out that story even more. But the fact that he can redeem himself, because Vader's story has been about trying to get back to the light and then doing that and making that ultimate sacrifice for Luke and killing, quote
About to say,
unquote,
not really killing the Emperor,
not
unfortunately.
really killing the Emperor and sacrificing himself so the rebellion can win and Luke could go on and, restart the Jedi Order. Like, listen, is Darth Vader evil? Did he do horrible things? Yeah, but did he end up being a pretty noble guy and go back to being Anakin? Yeah, and he made a really badass dad move by sacrificing himself.
What a dad.
What a dad move.
Oh yeah, it's that they were like, I would run in front of a train for you. Like I would take a bullet for you. I would take some Force lightning for you. Like, So Anakin Skywalker.
I'll allow it.
That is my last one. You
It's
two.
okay, I started tearing up because of Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Okay, we already mentioned Mrs. Doubtfire a little bit, so I'll skip over that. My very last one I'll talk about is Master Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Quintessential, adopted dad. It just shows you don't even have to be the same, animal species, whatever, to care about your sons that are named after human painters, that you named them. Master Splinter is one of those, cartoon dads. You loved him growing up.
Oh,
whether
yeah.
you're playing the games or watching the show
Or the movie.
movies. Every incarnation of Splinter has been what a wonderful mentor and father figure to these mutant turtles. It sounds really weird.
This mutant rat and these mutant turtles.
Dude, could you imagine pitching that idea back in the day? Just to be okay, hear me out. They're totally ninjas, right? But they're turtles. Okay, it's fine. Kids anthropomorphic, weird animal stuff. But they're also mutant. It's just and teenagers, by the way. I don't think there's much more to say for Splinter. He loves his kids, and they love him so much. And it's everybody's, dream rat dad.
If you've ever seen that meme going around of that rat carrying a slice of pizza,
Exactly.
I see a dad trying to provide for his 4 kids.
Exactly.
that is Splinter, yo.
Yeah, Splinter is amazing. I love him.
So I'll quickly go over my last 2. It's funny because I don't think we've really had any action dads or anything like that are. So Brian Mills from the movie Taken, Liam Neeson,
That was brought up at the dinner table last night.
essentially destroying an entire criminal organization to rescue his daughter. And that's the dad that I think a lot of dads want to be if they're like something happened to their kid. Like, yeah, I would go into Paris and just completely wreck everybody's shit.
I've been to that airport she gets abducted from.
Hang up the phone now. And this will all
like, give me back my daughter, and this will all be
I'll
over.
find you.
I will
And
find
I will kill you.
and you will know pain.
But yeah, so yeah, Liam Neeson from Taken, and I'm gonna to close this out. I'm gonna do the OG Mufasa from The Lion King.
Mufasa.
James Earl Jones with that voice, man. Just
Everything the light touches belongs to us.
Remember.
Dude, oh.
But yeah, Mufasa, the caring, nurturing dad, also like scary as hell. Like when he goes at the hyenas, it's like, oh crap! Like they're obviously terrified of this dude. And I mean, what more could you ask for from a dad? Like caring, nurturing, and when you need him to be fierce and scare the shit out of some people that are trying to hurt you, then he can do that.
I love that scene too, where Simba and Mufasa are like wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
So cute.
Oh, and then
My teeth just started chattering because I thought about the death.
Stampede.
And he
Mufasa.
thinks it's his fault. What a little Hamlet.
You have forgotten who you are.
Can I mention an honorable mention?
Quickly.
Okay, I had two. I had Keith Mars from Veronica Mars and Arthur Weasley from Harry Potter.
Ooh, Arthur Weasley.
I thought about Arthur Weasley, but
Yeah.
I did
I
Mrs.
feel like
Weasley.
not a lot of people have seen Veronica Mars.
Not Lucius Malfoy.
I thought your family could sink no lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to all the awesome dads out there. Happy Father's Day to all the awesome fictional dads out there. They're the reason that we were able to do this episode today, which is pretty awesome. That does it for this episode. Next week, Cabria will be here. I hope. She better be. We're calling you out, Cabria. You're coming. We are going to be talking about probably The Lion King again, live action remakes and their animated counterparts, why they've been not doing great and not as good as their animated counterparts, as well as some awesome and not so awesome mocap. So that stands for motion capture. I had to
People are like,
Thank you, Julian.
I should just in case.
I think the public knows. They're less likely to know PCAP these days, but they're like, mocap. I know what that is.
Yeah. So that does it for this episode. So for Matt, for Brittany, I'm Julian. Have a good night.
You can find Everything is Permitted on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Everything is Permitted is produced by Rob Bigliaccio, Nikki Veazey, and Geneva Stein-Shivers. Our executive producers are Michael Cox, Brittany Tomes and the Tomes family, and Julian Brown.